Hey guys, it's me, Danielle, the Locked Dental Hygienist, and today I am coming to you guys with a little bit of a story time. I'm probably gonna be smiling like almost through this whole video because it's just so absurd that I don't even like understand how it happened. So this is probably gonna be 2 parts, so it doesn't end up being way too long. But I want to tell you guys about my, let's see, 1, 2, 3 or 4. If I have to jog my memory, I have a little bit of notes here, but 3 or 4 experiences with consultations before I got my I don't have Sisterlocks, I have Microlocks. So let's start all the way at the beginning. So at the very, very beginning, I did not know that there was even a such thing as locks. I had noticed like this increase in a lot of women whose hair looked like similar to this, and I really liked it. I even stopped a lady in the grocery store one time. I was like, oh my goodness, like who did your hair? What's that? What's that hairstyle? And she said that she had Microlocks, and they were these little bitty tiny braids. But I kind of always felt self-conscious because my hair, I have low density thin hair. And because of my low density thin hair, I thought that it might look, you know, thin. And honestly, you know, I'm not going to say that my locks are like the thickest in the world, but I've learned how to, with just like different products and stuff, make it appear a little bit fuller. And I'm almost at my 6-month lock anniversary. So it's gotten a lot fuller over time, and there's also a lot of funny story behind that. I'm gonna do a future video of my husband's reaction to seeing my hair for the first time. It was really funny. He was not excited about it to now, and like, you know, how it looks and with the fresh reach high and all of that kind of stuff. But anyway, back to the story. So I saw another lady, and that lady was at my job. I told her, oh my gosh, your hair is so beautiful. And I still, again, didn't know this whole thing about that there was this brand called Sisterlocks, which I don't care what anybody says, it's a brand. And in my opinion, it's a brand of micro locks. Like the definition of micro lock is a small lock, and Sisterlock is just a type. There's definitely a technique in how to do it. There's a grid, you know, and of course it's all branded, but there are micro locks that are just super locks. It's kind of like facial tissue and Kleenex, in my opinion. It's still gonna clean the, you know, snot off your kid's face if it's facial tissue from Walmart or if it's the Kleenex brand. It's just, but it's just, I don't think there's one better than the other. But anyway, so I stalk people on YouTube, I stalk people on Facebook, I stalk people everywhere, and I finally found this lady who I had spoken to. I called her on the phone, and I actually was at a conference, and I called her on the phone, so this is my first consultation. And I said, you know, I'm very concerned because the stuff that I've been reading on the internet says that, you know, with micro locks and fine low density hair, your hair doesn't lock, and all these horror stories about thinning and different things like that. And she's like, you know, what makes you think that, you know, your hair won't lock? Of course it'll lock, you know, it might take longer. There's a lot of misinformation out there. She's like, how about you come to me, and she said, you know, come. And I was like, well, one of my concerns is because I have these reservations that I'm going to pay, you know, if you don't know, the Sisterlock, the way that it works is that consultation is pretty much, in my opinion, a commitment that you're going to get your hair done. And I say that because like it seems as though they expect a lot of the research to be done beforehand. And with that, that means that like you're going to be willing to invest the $250, $300 for that appointment. And I told her, I was like, I'm concerned because this appointment, I think at the time, was like $200, and it applied to your first retie. So no, yeah, it applied to your first retie, and I already know that I don't think my hair is going to lock, and so I don't want to pay for it. And she said, okay, well, how about this? You'll come in and get your hair evaluated, and you know, if it turns out that's not the case, I'll refund like half of your money or something, which was still gonna end up being a lot. But I had done my research, I really wanted it, and the barrier to me getting Sisterlocks was getting the consultation, and so heck, I was gonna do it. So y'all, I had booked this in like February, the end of February, and I was geeked. I was so freaking excited. I put it on my calendar. It had a heart beside it. I was about to go get my consultation and finally, after almost 2 years, get my hair done. And so it was like in the middle of July when my appointment was, and she offered to me, she said, hey, you know, when I scheduled it, hey, you know, you pay half of it, you pay half of the fee. And my husband knew how excited I was, and he was like, you know what, I'm going to make this my gift to you. And so he paid for that, and he was like, and whenever the next time comes, you know, I'll pay for the other half of it. And so now this is from February into July. So I took off work for that afternoon. I got like, I don't even know. It was like I was going on a date or something with my hair. Because y'all, it was so, I say it was sad, but you know, if you know that you know that you get, you're really excited about it. So I get there, and first of all, let's back up a little bit. First of all, this person is very, very popular because there's not that many people. Okay, so I knew she was, you know, had done a lot of people's hair and stuff like that. And so the first thing that happened was that she texted me earlier in the day. Mind you, like I said, took off work, rearranged my life for this appointment, and she says, hey, I'm not done doing my son's hair, so can you come at X time instead of X time? So I was like, okay. So it basically made my appointment later, which means I could have just, you know, gone to work. But whatever, PTO is not a big deal. Let me just wait on her. She texts me again, and she says, okay, well, you know, she said, well, let me let you know what time. So she texts me again, and she said, it's going to be X time. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I show up, y'all. In Arkansas, it's hot. It's very hot. And it was like 110 degrees outside. Almost, for real. And like it's very humid, and so, you know, I'm like out there, my hair's all freshly washed because she said bring your hair all freshly washed, and like I haven't styled it at all, so I'm looking raggedy. And I'm standing outside, and I get there, and it's not that far away from my home, and I like notice that there's like nobody there. So like nobody there, like the lights are off, the door is locked, there's no cars. And as I drive up, I'm like, okay, maybe she's just like running a little bit late, so let me get back in my car because it's hot outside. So I get back in my car, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting some more. And so, I mean, like after like 15 minutes, I figured, well, let me call her or like text her. So I like tried to call her. She didn't answer the phone. I texted her. She didn't text me back. I called her again. She did not call me. And I'm freaking mad because I paid my money. I took off work. And more than anything, I was just so excited. Like, I was so hyped that even my best friend texted me, like, are you at the appointment? Like, what are you thinking so far? You know, and I was just like, it broke my little heart. I was so upset about it. And so I like couldn't get a hold of her. So finally, after 30 minutes, I was like, well, she's not coming, or something happened. I don't know. But I literally talked to her today, and I don't even know, you know, like, it's fine. So I get in my car, I leave. I get like a mile or two down the road, and then she calls me back. And she says, hey, you know, this is such and such, and like, what's going on? I was like, well, I had an appointment at X time, and nobody came. And I called and I texted, and I'm like kind of upset about it because I basically rearranged my life, and I waited, let's see, February, March, April, May, June, 5 months for this appointment because you were the person that was recommended to do my hair. It's roundabout what I said. And I try to be super respectful even when I'm mad, but I was real mad. And she says, oh, you weren't the person that I've been texting this whole time telling them I'm running late? What do you mean am I the person? You texted me earlier. You can't get in the, like, I don't know if I believe her or if I don't believe her, or I don't know. But I just was like, it just really ticked me off. And so she was like, well, do you, basically roundaboutly, I'm on my way, which could have meant any point of amount of a time by the time she was going to be there. Do you want to wait for me to come? Because I thought I was like communicating with you. I just got done with my son's hair. Again, also not making a client feel very good that you literally moved my appointment and then showed up late to it because you're doing your child's hair who lives with you, who you could have done their hair at another time. Plus the fact that like this is supposed to be a professional brand. And I say that not because I'm like down in Sisterlocks. Well, I'm saying that because like each of these people are individuals and they're going to run their business the way that they are individuals. Sisterlock doesn't necessarily, they do the training. So like a regular loctician can be a trainee, and somebody who's never done locks before can do the training. But I don't feel like there's like a good, like keeping tabs on people, right? So you just have to go with the culture of your loctician. Again, not saying negative about Sisterlock. I just want people to realize that like it's not like an extensive like thing that people go through. It's a training that you complete to learn how to do it. And then as a trainee, I don't feel like there's a lot of accountability in how you're running your business, or things like that shouldn't happen if you're expected to be put at a certain caliber, you know? So I just was like, no, I don't want to wait, and I don't want to have this appointment. Yes, I would like a refund. And she was gracious about it, and she refunded my money to my account, but I just left like that was the first strike, you know. It just made me so upset. So person number 2, I looked online again. I was like, I couldn't find anybody, but I looked for a month or so, and then more people started popping up as sister locticians on the site. And I even thought about going back to her, because I was like, if she's the only choice, maybe I should just suck it up and go to her anyway, because I know people say that she does a good job. And so I found, though, that there was new trainees. So I guess they had done a new training, and the new trainees had popped up. And I was like, okay, a trainee would be good. And, you know, there's a lot of Facebook groups that you can look in to see, you know, if what it's like working with a trainee. And so I scheduled this appointment with the lady who's a trainee. She was so sweet. I was like, yes, this is going to be so good. So again, you know, you got to fork over money. Not fork over, that makes it sound negative, but of course I'm going to pay her for her time, right? And I value that. And it takes time to go through these appointments. So I scheduled an appointment with the trainee. She texted me. She was very professional. She was working though out of her home at that time. So she told me that actually she had worked for the other lady as a trainee, but she had decided to leave her shop, and she was going to be working out of a section she had like in her living room, which I prefer to be in a shop if I can be, just because I don't like being in people's personal space. But she had a section in her living room, and I did the same thing. I made my appointment. She let me know it would be a couple of hours. And I got to her house. She was really nice. It was just her. She did have her child there. And I believe that her consultation was $150 or somewhere along those lines. And she said it was because she was a trainee. And so I got in there, and she's like, oh, you know, let me get everything ready. While I'm getting everything ready, I'm going to give you a brochure. I looked in the brochure, and it was literally like straight out of the 90s. Like it was like a lot of older pictures. So one of my feedbacks was that I felt like that Sisterlock needed to update their like brochures and stuff, because it definitely was like, you know, set it off type of hairstyles back with like Queen Latifah and them. You know, you could tell it was the 90s, and it had some pictures in there, and I wasn't really impressed, but it also had a lot of good information in there. So aside from the pictures, I feel like they need to be updated, like the graphics and stuff. I felt like it was a good brochure. And she kind of explained to me how Sisterlock started, who the founder was, what's different about them, like the grid of your hair, and there's a certain technique. You can do it like this size, and this size. And she just went through all of that spiel with me, and she was like, okay, bear with me, because I'm going to be kind of slow because I'm a trainee. And so then she started working on my hair. Well, I explained to her as she was, you know, getting all her stuff together and everything like that. She was a little bit all over the place. I think she was just nervous because I was one of her first clients. And she's like, you know, if you don't mind working with me, you know, she used to work at the post office. She just told me a lot of stuff about herself. And so I sat down, and she started sectioning my hair, and she was like, ooh, girl, you weren't lying. You know, your hair is pretty lengthy. So I think I had like 12, 13 inches of hair at that point. I never really could tell because I was a loose natural, but my hair has a lot of shrinkage. And then she was also saying, like, she's like, but your hair, you know, is so fine. So she had to have spent like, I don't even know, like 30 minutes playing in my hair. She was parting stuff. She was like, you know, moving stuff around. She made a few braids in my hair. I guess just part of the process that they go through during your consultation. And she like was using the little Sisterlock tool. I can't remember exactly what it looks like, but it looks different than the interlocking tool that is used on my hair now. But it has, the tip of it has some measurements on it. Or it's like basically like 50% of the tip or a full amount of the tip. And there's a certain size that Sisterlocks have to be. And she basically was like looking, and I could tell, I was like, oh, you know, is everything okay? Because again, fine, low density hair. And she was just kind of like, she's like, you know, I feel like that you're right. Your hair is fine, and it's really low density. And as I'm trying to put in these tester locks into your hair, I'm noticing that I have to make them bigger than the measurements that Sisterlock sets forth in order for them to be Sisterlocks. And so she was basically told me, she's like, I can do locks on your hair, But if you want to be technical about it, they're not going to be sister locks because they're going to be too big. Because I need more of your hair than I would need on a person with thicker hair in order to make a lock out of. And she's like, if it were me and I were you and I really wanted locks, I would go and I would get my hair locks. I would go and get my hair locked in a different way, maybe a slightly bigger size, and see if your hair is even gonna lock or you can appreciate that style. She basically told me, I don't want to take your money and tell you that I gave you sister locks if in the end they're not even really sister locks because I didn't do them in the sister lock method. And I think that additionally, I don't think she really wanted to do it. Because part of the reason why it was taking her so long, she was saying, is because while she was gripping my hair, it was very soft and fine. And so it was hard for her to get my hair into a lock. And it was going to take her a really, really long time. So I think that it was like a combination of the fact that she just like didn't want to do it because it seemed like my hair would be hard to do locks on. And at the same time, like she was trying to be honest and saying that she felt like the locks would be bigger than what the sister lock measurements would be. So I don't know, like my feeling about it, like it kind of like rubbed me the wrong way again. And it made me feel like I was having a bad experience, but at the same time appreciating the fact that she didn't like lie to me and take my money. And I would have thought I had sister locks and then I didn't actually even have sister locks. And so I don't know, guys. I felt like the experience overall and the two people that I had, it just wasn't very good. And I paused. I was super sad when I left there too, because this was such a big journey for me. You know, I went from like having loose natural hair for 10 years to, you know, making this decision to finally do it. And it's like, nothing about this is easy. One thing I will say too is like, the lady was like, well, follow up with me. The second lady, follow up with me and let me know what you decide to do. And another thing that she told me was that she was like, this would be the price, but if you're willing to cut your hair, basically she wanted me to cut 2 to 3 inches off of my hair in order for it to be she's like, I'll set this price, but that's contingent upon you cutting 2 to 3 inches off of your hair. Again, I felt like, I mean, thank you for letting me know that it's length based. There's a base plus per inch, you know, they increased the price. But at the same time, like, why would you ask me to cut my hair? I feel like it was also to make it easier on you. Like, I feel like it was all to make it easier on her. And she kept saying things like, you know, oh, I just need a couple of good clients. You know, I've had to restart or like take down locks on a couple of people because it just wasn't going to work out, and basically be a good example of what she could do by being a sister loctician. So those were the first 2 scenarios that I went through. So what ended up happening? How did I get my hair like this? This video is already super long, so I'm not gonna talk about that. I will do a part 2 with why I ended up just scrapping sister lock altogether. I went with a regular loctician, and I actually ended up with micro locks. And like I said, I feel like micro locks and sister locks are the same thing, but sister locks is just a brand of micro locks. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but the definition of micro lock is just a really, really small lock. And then I learned a lot about like how micro locks can be formed. We got interlocking, palm rolling, braiding, 2-strand twisting. And I just started doing more and more research, and it opened my eyes to the fact that like I could get locks in the same look and not have to deal with a certain brand that I just didn't feel like was gonna be the right fit for me. The more research I did, and then also the more experiences I had, and the more I thought about cost. And so in the next video, I'll tell you guys about how I found my loctician, who is amazing. I love that girl. I bet her because we spent a lot of time together. It takes about 45 hours to retie my hair. And then also share with you guys about, you know, what ended up happening, how my session went, how many locks that I ended up having, why I didn't interlock my hair by myself, and different things like that in the next video.